It's fair to say that when Persona 5 Strikers was first announced, it was a big surprise. I remember the reveal well. Strikers, or Scramble as it is known in Japan, was revealed at the Persona Super Live concert in 2019. In the run-up, Atlus had been teasing new projects that were going to get revealed at the event. I went in with high hopes, keeping my fingers crossed for a follow-up to Arc System Works' Persona fighting games. Persona 4 Arena and Persona 4 Ultimax are brilliant games, and the prospect of a Persona 5 fighting game got me truly excited. So I sat down for the Persona concert, hoping for a P5 Arena reveal. And instead we got a Persona 5 Musou game. That was not what I was expecting, and not what fans in general had seen coming. This was the first time Atlus had released a Warriors-style Persona game, and I guess part of my initial disappointment was thinking Strikers would be a Hyrule Warriors type game. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I just assumed it would be lots of Persona-themed stages strung together that players had to battle through one after another. You know, here's a palace stage, and here's a Mementos stage, and here's another palace stage. Just lots of battles against tons of shadows with no story linking it together. Thankfully, this couldn't be further from the truth. Persona 5 Strikers isn't your typical musou-style game. It is basically a regular Persona game, just with a different battle system. You still get everything that makes a Persona game great. Great story, great characters, life sim aspects. The main difference is the battle system. So let's talk about that. The battle system is a lot more in-depth than what you'd find in most musou games. Sure, you fight plenty of enemies at once, but it's not mindless button bashing. There is a fair bit of strategy involved. The battle system in Strikers is closer to what we saw in Final Fantasy VII Remake than Hyrule Warriors. Characters can string together combos, you can take control of other party members at any time with baton passes, you can also use your personas to cast magic attacks, and these persona attacks will affect all enemies within a specific area, and enemies are vulnerable to elemental damage, like in a typical Persona game. If you knock down enemies, you can perform all-out attacks, and after a while you can also perform showtime attacks. There is a lot going on in each battle, not to mention having to quickly dodge enemy attacks, which is especially important with powerful foes, and healing up party members. It's obviously a lot faster paced than the turn-based battles of Persona 5 and Royal, but by no means can you merely mash the attack button to get through battles. What you see in Strikers is like a halfway house between typical turn-based battle systems and what you'd find in a regular Warriors game. And it's a lot of fun. Elsewhere, the other main difference between Strikers and other Persona games is its life sim aspects. In Persona 5 and Persona 5 Royale, having to keep on top of everything you need to do can be overwhelming. Ever been in a scenario in P5 where it's like, okay, I have X amount of days till I need to head to the next palace, so I need to head to Mementos enough times to level up and go into the palace every now and then just to make a bit of progress before the deadline hits. But I also need to schedule time to build up my confidant rankings. However, there's someone I also want to romance, so I need to build up my charm levels before then. And oh yeah, I could do with spending some time building up other skills like proficiency. And I do need to study for my exams, and it would be nice to hang out with Ryuji for a bit, and yeah, Persona games can involve a lot of admin work and organising your diary, and this time management side of things can be a bit stressful. Thankfully, Strikers is largely on the rails when it comes to the life sim side of things. You will get time to explore and optional moments when you can hang out with people in the gang. but it's mainly just following the schedule and set things you have to do on each day of the calendar. And in many ways, this is a nice change of pace. You can just go along for the ride without having to worry about timekeeping. And what a ride it is. Persona 5 Strikers is essentially a sequel to Persona 5. So the action that takes place in P5S happens a few months after the original ended. And as to be expected from a Persona game, it tells a great, engrossing story which touches on the dark and unseen side of society. The heartfelt and fist-pumping story beats you've seen in P5 and Royal are back once again, and just getting to spend time with the Phantom Thieves is one of the great joys of Strikers. Just hanging out with them, having funny moments with the group. It's like a reunion with great friends you haven't seen in ages. And it's testament to Atlus's writing and character building skills that they can deliver this warm, fuzzy feeling from hanging out with the Phantom Thieves again. I playtested the Switch version of Persona 5 Strikers, playing it in both handheld and docked mode. But whichever mode you play it in, Strikers won't look as good as the PS4 or Steam version. Handheld mode is the worst out of the two, with character models looking more fuzzy than when the Switch is docked. But by no means does it look bad, and if you'd like the convenience of playing Persona on the go, then the Switch version may appeal to you. The question is, if you're a Switch fan and you've never played Persona 5 before, is it worth picking up this sequel? It's a tough call. If you've never played P5 or P5 Royal before, then just playing Strikers will spoil certain things. Not necessarily directly, but you'll probably be able to guess a number of major plot beats from Persona 5 or from Royal by what you see in the sequel. And you won't get as much from Strikers as you would if you haven't played Persona 5 or Royal beforehand. Persona 5 is one of my favourite games of all time, and I wouldn't want that experience spoiled for anyone. But Switch fans who have no interest in purchasing a PS4 or even a PS3 to play Persona 5 may be happy just jumping straight into Strikers. It's not something I'd recommend, but different strokes, different folks. What I do know for certain though is that for anyone that has played and loved Persona 5 or Persona 5 Royale, Strikers is an essential purchase. It's a pitch-perfect sequel and is an early and strong contender for one of my favourite games of the year.